Usually a medical diagnosis feels pretty precise. Like you break your arm, the x-ray shows a jagged white line, and well, that's that.
Right, it's immediate.
Yeah, but with breast cancer, by the time a tumor is actually visible on a scan, it might have been growing in the dark for, literally decades. That x-ray is arriving incredibly late.
Exactly, which is why relying just on, early detection leaves this massive gap in our defense. If we look at historical data, American women were once 4 to 5 times more likely to develop breast cancer than women eating a traditional Japanese diet.
4 to 5 times. That is a huge difference.
Right. And migration studies proved it wasn't just genetics. Because when Japanese women moved to the U.S. and adopted a Western diet, their risk literally matched Americans within just 2 generations.
Well, just 2 generations. So before we get too deep into this, just a quick disclaimer, we are not medical professionals.
Yeah.
Today's deep dive leans heavily on the research of Dr. Michael Greger and the team at nutritionfacts.org.
Yes, and our mission for you today is to really figure out which foods actually fuel these hidden tumors, which ones can actively starve them, and, how diet can even make treatments like chemotherapy more effective.
So getting back to that traditional Japanese diet, what was it about that specific way of eating that worked so well?
Well, it was incredibly low in animal fats, right? And very high in things like whole soy and sea vegetables. That combination basically creates an environment where cancer just struggles to survive.
Yeah.
Because breast cancer cells literally feed on LDL to grow.
Wait, LDL? Like your bad cholesterol?
Yes, exactly. They hijack it to stimulate their own multiplication. Our bodies manufacture all the necessary cholesterol our healthy cells need. The excess LDL floating in your bloodstream, that's what the tumors scavenge.
Oh, I see. So the extra stuff is basically free fuel.
Right. And Dr. Greger's research suggests everyone should really keep their LDL below 100. And for high-risk individuals, you should aim for below 70 or even below 55.
Wow, that low.
Yeah, because when you combine that high circulating LDL with even light alcohol consumption, and by the way, there is absolutely no safe threshold for alcohol in breast cancer. You are actively feeding the disease.
It's like throwing gasoline on a metabolic fire.
Yeah.
Okay, so if tumor cells are actively hunting for this excess LDL cholesterol to fuel up, how do we shut down those specific supply lines?
Well, you target their manufacturing process. Tumors often use this enzyme called aromatase to synthesize their own estrogen. And that estrogen acts like a growth hormone for the cancer.
Okay, so aromatase is basically a counterfeiter, right? Like printing fake estrogen to fund the tumor's expansion.
That is a perfect analogy. And plain white button mushrooms act like a security system that just spills ink all over that printer. They naturally suppress the aromatase enzyme.
Wait, really? Just regular white button mushrooms?
Yeah, just the normal ones you get at the store. And when you pair those with cruciferous vegetables like broccoli, sprouts, you're looking at a potential 50% reduction in the risk of cancer progression or recurrence.
50%? Skipping those everyday veggies is like leaving your best defensive players on the bench.
Exactly. But then we get into the really heavy hitters, like whole soy and flax seeds.
Right. I noticed whole soy kept coming up in the data. What exactly is soy doing at the cellular level?
This is where we get into epigenetics, which is fascinating. Cancer often survives by turning off your body's BRCA genes.
Those are the tumor-suppressing genes, right? The ones that repair damaged DNA.
Yes. And whole soy contains isoflavones. These are specific plant compounds that can literally reach into your DNA and flip those BRCA genes back to the on position. It basically reboots your body's natural defenses.
That is wild. You're literally rewriting the software of the cell.
Yeah.
But I also saw flax seeds highlighted everywhere alongside the soy. What makes flax seeds so potent?
So flax seeds contain up to 800 times more lignans than other plant foods.
800 times?
Yeah, it's not even close. Lignans are a type of phytoestrogen, and here is how they work. Many breast cancers need estrogen to grow, right? Medical treatments, like the chemotherapy drug tamoxifen, they work by blocking the estrogen receptors on the cancer cells.
Right, so it essentially plugs the keyhole so the real estrogen can't get in to fuel the growth.
Precisely. And clinical trials actually show that the lignans in ground flax seeds perform that exact same blocking maneuver. They sit in those estrogen receptors naturally, mimicking the effects of tamoxifen.
And what does that actually do to the cancer?
In just a matter of weeks, it reduces tumor cell proliferation and aggressiveness.
It's just incredible to think that the same blocking mechanism we engineer in a lab is literally sitting in a bag of ground seeds at the grocery store.
It really is, and it highlights a massive shift in how we should think about risk. The generational shift we saw earlier with the Japanese diet proves that we aren't just helpless victims of our genetics. We are the architects of our biological environment.
Which means our kitchen pantries might actually hold more power over our health than our family trees. You don't have to wait decades for a scan to tell you what's happening. You have the tools to change your internal environment, starting with your very next meal. So what dietary changes will you make to protect yourself or your loved ones?